Steven goes, obviously you're on Tweed time. So hello, everyone. We are so sorry for the technical difficulties. We have no idea. So this obviously proves that you don't have to be perfect to get to presidential. You can do whatever, and you can mess up on Google Hangout and figure it out. But yeah, so I kept getting kicked out. But now we are praying that we are good to go. So I am Erin Tweed. I'm a presidential diamond leader with It Works Global. And you'll have to bear with me because my voice is slowly coming back. And tonight we've got Brittany Landrum on, and she is also presidential. And we really work hand in hand. So we're excited to do this newbie to Ruby, kind of just back to basics training for everybody this evening. So Britt, let's talk about when somebody first gets started, and like, what are the key things? What do you think is most important for them to do right off, so that they can kind of hit the ground running, floodgates open, and before their starter kit comes, what are some of those key things that people can be working on?
To me, it's obviously get to know your website, get to know your eSuite, the back office. Most of it is self-explanatory. It's going to have your questions and your answers. The other thing is just get started. I think sometimes people feel like they have to know all of the answers, or have to have their personal results, or have to know all this stuff. But to be honest, you will learn while you earn in this business. Mm-hmm. And I think that, when I first got started, that's probably one of the best things that I ever heard is you will learn while you earn. It doesn't mean you're going to lie to people, but let's be honest, the way things work these days, rarely do I ever get a phone call. People message or they text. So if I don't know the answer, they don't know that because I have time to find it out. And see, that's where your upline, I feel like, comes in, or the team pages. And pretty much it's just get started.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. My thing that I think a lot of people think is they have to have their kit to get started, or that they think something magical is going to come in. So what I always tell my new team is to say, hey, look, really within your first 24 hours, if you can knock out your training, when you start making your initial posts, and that's something that I'm going to help you with, is kind of figure out your wording and get comfortable with everything. But if you can knock out your training, that really starts to build the foundation for your business. And you're going to be a lot more comfortable with the products. You're going to be comfortable with talking about parts of the business that, you may not have exactly seen, like the steps to success or a few other things, until you really dive in and do it. So I challenge everybody to really finish that within 24 hours. And then kind of at that 24-hour mark, okay, let's sit down and let's make your first post. By all means, there's some people that do that ahead of time, but I've got other people that want to wait until they do their training. So I say, if we're going to wait to start posting, then we need to do your training within that 24-hour mark. Business builder kits, they typically take like 3 to 5 days, sometimes a week. So what I like to do is challenge yourself to get your 4 loyal customers before your kit even arrives. I remember when I first got started, I signed up 6 loyal customers in my first 4 days. I didn't do anything special. I just started posting about the products. I had never tried any of the products before, but I knew that the team that I was joining, I had seen their team's results and their customers' results, and I believed in the opportunity. So that's really what I always share is I've never looked at it as sales or feeling like I have to try something to go and be able to talk to somebody. I'm passionate about what the products are doing for people and what the business is doing, and that's all you have to do. A good post that I saw today was really, when you start talking about the business, kind of start gearing your post towards what was it that made you join, rather than feeling like you have to do something magical. Like, what was it in, let's say in my post, that made you join, or what was it in your upline or your enrollers post that made you join? Follow the leaders. And so I think you were going to touch on that a little bit, like using your uplines and using your team as examples, to kind of help you hit the ground running.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to say, especially for like the people that follow me. You see what I post, but I didn't wake up. I didn't start this business this confident. I wasn't always taking these crazy pictures with capes on and holding my cat. I mean, weird things. That confidence has come within the business. But what I did do is, when I got started, we all joined for a reason. We joined to be successful. We joined because we clearly thought, what if? Let's just see if it works. But it's only going to work if you work it. So just like you said, just almost it's not like trying to be someone else, but clearly whoever you signed with, they were doing something that caught your eye. So just mimic that. Find where you fit in. But as bad as it sounds, I jokingly say, I never used to take selfies before August of 2014. Now I take selfies like it's my job, but it is my job and I get paid for it. So I got out of my comfort zone really quickly when I realized it was going to help me promote.
Hashtag no pun intended. No, exactly. I mean, I literally look at my time app every day and I never posted anything about myself ever. And now it's like, God only knows when I start getting into like the next couple months of my year, when I look at my time app, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, I take pictures of myself every day. But it's just, you start to build confidence with it. So the way that you build confidence is just doing it. You can't just sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous and I don't know what to say. Just go for it. It doesn't matter. Like if you could literally go back and see Brittany and I's first post, you would probably die. Like they were probably awful, saying like, hey, come get your wraps, whatever. I don't even know what it would say, but something cheesy and tacky, but that's all we knew. So we're very fortunate in the fact that we have leaders and we can use them as examples to kind of start building our business. And so take advantage of that, use those tools, use the pages. One thing that I get a lot with a lot of new distributors is I get, especially if you're signing a bunch of new team members, I get a lot of the same questions. So what I like to reiterate is go back to using the team pages. I don't think we use them enough because probably if you're thinking that question, somebody else is thinking that question. So go ahead and put it out there because everybody can learn. So I may have a tip or something to say, but you may learn from somebody else. So put it out on the page. Use the pages to your advantage to get the information that you need. So we'll kind of talk about some eSuite tools that I think are really important. The first one that I want to bring up, and we'll go into the steps to success and charting for Ruby, but I think it's important when you first get started, there's two documents. There's the hundreds list and then the memory jogger tool. So I don't know if you've ever printed this out, but the memory jogger tool, it literally is a list of people. And so this is kind of how you can start making your hundreds list. All of these documents can be found under document library. But the memory jogger, it literally will say like doctor, neighbor, friend, whatever. And so that starts getting your mind thinking, okay, like for my hundreds list for my customers, I'm going to put this person because, oh yeah, I remember them telling me that they were interested in weight loss, or they're so mad because they've lost all their hair after their pregnancy, whatever. But using that tool kind of hand in hand with your hundreds list, that gets your wheel spinning. So you don't sit there and say, I have nobody to talk to. I don't know who my market is. I don't know who to start reaching out to. Use that tool and use that to your advantage to start asking people or start reaching out to them and mentioning those things that they have been talking to you about before. So
one thing that I want to chime in on that is it goes farther than the hundreds list. You just got to make sure that once you make your hundreds list, that you actually contact those people. Yeah. And I know that some of the people on there are going to seem scary and you're going to in your mind say, but I don't think they would be interested. And guess what? Maybe 50 to 75 of them won't right now, but eventually they will be. Yep. And so what I can promise you is if you're not planting that seed with them, someone else is going to. So worst case scenario, they tell you no, thank you, I'm not interested, or no, I don't believe in that, whatever their reason is. But you just want to be the one to plant that seed. I actually have a girl on my team, I'll never forget it. She made a comment that she didn't contact this lady that she had on her Facebook, kind of good acquaintances with her, because the husband was a doctor and she just figured they don't need this income. And she said she'll never forget at the next team meeting when she walked into the room as a new distributor because someone else had messaged her. So, whoever, I feel like they're coming into your mind for a reason. Worst case, they're going to tell you no. Best case, they're going to be your next runner and help you promote even quicker. So,
yeah, no, I think it's like so important. I think you learn as you grow because sometimes it's really easy to, especially with social media these days, you see into everybody's lives. And so a lot of times we can make assumptions and feel like, oh, they just had a baby. I know that they don't have money because they're probably buying diapers or getting ready to pay for daycare, whatever. But the biggest thing and biggest piece of advice is I could tell you is don't make excuses for other people because you have no idea what happens behind closed doors. I was a nurse making good money. Kyle was in wine sales and we were living comfortably, but that doesn't mean that everybody knew that we were pretty much living paycheck to paycheck, literally just making it by and spending over $1,000 a month just in childcare. So you never see that on the outside because that's not what you're going to post on Facebook and Instagram. You're going to post the pretty things. So that's what I want you to take away from this is don't make excuses for other people and reach out to them. Who cares if they say no? It doesn't matter. They're not saying no to you. They're just saying no, not right now. And I think that that's something that is important to learn too when you're new because you're going to be like, oh my God, they told me no. That's okay. Keep them on your hundreds list because they're going to come around eventually.
I said no for 3.5 months.
Yeah. Oh, I did too. That's the crazy thing. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is, I guess we can go ahead and go into the steps to success and the Ruby.
Okay.
So steps to success is, do you have one printed out?
I do have the steps to success. I don't have the Ruby printed out.
Okay. So what we talk about with the steps to success, obviously, if you listen to any of the trainings, if you went to conference or you've been to any team meetings, we always go back to steps to success because this business is really built around 3 simple steps. One is blitz, wrap, repeat, and then 2 is the steps to success. So step 1 is joining the party, which if you've become a distributor, you've obviously joined the party. Step 2 is working to gain those 4 loyal customers. That should be your goal day in and day out every single month. And so what I do the first of the month, every month, and I expect that of my team, is to get that printed. A lot of times I think we work better if we have a visual and something that we can write on. So print that steps to success out and get your 4 loyal customers every single month. In that first 30 days, you want to make sure that you get those 4 loyal customers because that's going to get you your 120 in free product, but it also is going to qualify you for any future bonuses. So it's important that you make sure you get those customers because let's say, next year, you may not have hit the Ruby bonus and that's okay, whatever. But next year, if they bring out good bonuses, you want to make sure that you've been qualified because you've gotten your 4 loyal customers. So it's so important to complete step 2 and getting those 4 loyals. And then step 3, I'm going to print one out.
And one thing while you're doing that I was going to say is, when you first get started, what do we normally do? We usually go to our warm market, our family and our close friends. Some of you on here are going to honestly be able to get your 4 loyals with cousins, friends, parents, whatever. I personally did not. So don't get discouraged if, at first they're not all gung-ho about it. Some people, need to know a little bit more. So pretty much you just have to do what you have to do to find those 4 loyal customers. And then the beauty of it is that the quicker that you get them, the quicker your 120 free product comes in.
Yeah, so the post when I first started, what I really like to post about and share is I like to share like personal team results, but I think hair, skin, and nails is huge. That I remember like half of my customers when I first got started, I signed because of a hair, skin, and nail post because a lot of people are looking for longer, healthier hair, especially if you color it or put product in it or you're like, straighten it every day like I do, it gets fried. And so having that ability to have something to help your hair get healthier, a lot of people want that. So I love that one. A lot of people are looking for weight loss. So look at kind of what your audience is and listen to what people have been telling you because a lot of people are going to talk to you about weight loss or stress or different things. And so gear your post towards that. You don't necessarily have to say, I have this testimony, but say, I know what this product is and I know what it can do for you. And that's all you have to leave it as. Product tester posts are really good, especially when you're getting started, because you can kind of put out a broad detail about the products and say, hey, look, I'm looking for a family or friend to try out one product for these 90 days and support me in my business. And so by doing that, you can go ahead and start signing up those loyal customers. Hold on, it's coming.
No, you're fine.
I don't know why it's being so crazy. Hold on, y'all. We're getting it.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to touch on something. It's totally off subject, so we'll have to remember we get like right back on where we came from. But it's something that I don't want to forget for the newbies that are on here is just remember once you join, your Facebook and your Instagram is now your business page. And it would just be like you walking into a store. And if you walked in and some people were cussing or just, you know, kind of like not paying attention to you or kind of arguing, you would probably be turned off by that and not want to purchase there. So just remember, when you get started, your page is really, it's fully just your business. So I'm not saying don't use it for your personal fun, but at the same time, I would keep it very classy. You know, the it work stuff, your family posts, I probably wouldn't share videos all day long because it's going to like take up your news feed. Just make it look very professional.
Yeah. Well, one thing too, so we can kind of talk about some like what to post. So things that I would suggest posting. We have a lot of good examples for like lifestyle posts and things, and you can share the stories of people that are successful. But when we'll talk about the Ruby chart, but distributors go hand in hand with loyal customers. So you can't forget to post before and afters or sharing the products. It has to go hand in hand with using the lifestyle posts. So one thing that I loved about the lifestyle post that Carrie Bauer actually shared, she said in all of her lifestyle posts, she includes the past, the present, and the future. And that really hit home because it was talking about, especially like when you're new, you know what your past was like. You can kind of say, you know, I was a nurse. I was living paycheck to paycheck. This is what's happening now. I've joined this amazing business. You may not be able to say, hey, I've earned $10,000. No, that's okay. But I know what it's going to do for my family. So that's the future. I know it's going to help me be debt free. I know it's going to help me make more friends. I know it's going to be able to help my family and friends. So I think that's the biggest thing when you start making lifestyle posts as a new distributor. You think, oh my God, I don't have any money to show yet. That's okay because you're making more friends. You're going to have more financial freedom. So talk about the past, present, and future. But then also remembering too to make sure that you're posting, you know, befores and afters because you do want to get those loyal customers with it. So we're going to talk about going Ruby. So hopefully everybody can see this. And okay, so first things first. Let's say, and these boxes, I always have to clarify, these are all distributors, so not loyal customers. So let's say you're going to call your mom when you first get started and you're going to say, Mom, like I know what I've got my hands on. I want you to join me in this amazing business. Let's do this together. So your mom signs up. And then you talk to your friend Susie and you say the exact same thing. And then you talk to Jessica. So those three people have now enrolled as a distributor. And if you can see your mom, we're going to put her in this box for now. But so when your mom gets her first 2 loyal customers, you're going to get a $100 bonus. So this is where you can start to make a lot of money with the fast start bonuses and things like that. But each of these people over here, in order for anybody to be a qualified leg, you have to be at 400 group volume. So GV, you'll see that in your eSuite. But let's say your mom signs up her best friend, Becky. I'm running out of names to think of. And then she signed up her friend, Sandra. So she's got 2. So what this looks like is you may not have necessarily signed all 3 of these people personally, but everybody, you'll start kind of building them in your chart. So everybody has to be at 400 group volume. And for the Ruby bonus, you have to make sure that you have 4 active loyal customers too. So I want to make sure that you're all aware of that. So that way you do, if you're qualifying for a bonus, you want to make sure you have your 4 active loyal customers. So it's really not difficult because sometimes people can look at the chart and think, oh my God, that's 5 people. Start talking to your family and friends. It's really simple and just say, hey, I know what I've got my hands on. This is what's going on. Probably more than likely you've already talked to your family and friends before you started joining and you've got a good idea. So take those people and just run with them. Is there anything else you can add?
No, not yet.
Okay. So that is really it. So we can kind of talk about daily 6 list things. You can tell I need some water.
because that sounds awful in there.
Yeah, really, I know.
Yeah, so this is actually something that just recently changed my business, and I'm just gonna kind of be real and open with you. I actually felt like I was more on top of things when I was actually working full time, because even though I was working a crazy amount of hours and I'm a single mom at the time when I first started, I had to be on schedule. So what I found was recently in the last couple of months, I had to make a 6 list, and everybody kept talking about it. And that's actually something I want to stress right now is I'm hoping that some of you that are on here aren't, brand new. You've been in for a while and you just need the fire relit. Something that I feel like hit home for me is don't give up until you've tried every option. The beauty of this business, there's going to be many ways that you can be successful. We all work our business differently, but to know that this doesn't work for you, you have to try it. And if it didn't work, you go to the next option. So for me, it was the 6 list, but it has totally changed. Sometimes you can feel like you're putting a lot of time into this business. But one thing that came to me is this on Facebook is not working, but I was calling it working because I was looking at it, it works stuff. So the 6 list helped me a ton. I have things that I personally do daily every day. I add, and everyone's are going to be different. For me, I have to make it where it pushes me a little bit, but it's very obtainable. So I add people on Instagram every day. I add people on Facebook every day. I send a certain amount of messages. I will be honest and say, pick a number. For me, I started with 5 or 10 or whatever. All I know is that I almost wasn't enough. But then I tried 50 one time, and that was like way too much. And I found that didn't work for me. So I try to do between 15 and 25 a day. I'm going to, the other thing is, and I really, really believe this is true, you got to get out and about. So, blitzing is on my list. What are some things that are on? I actually have an 8 list, but a lot of mine now are like leadership things that I feel like, I put on my 6 list now.
Yeah, so I think it changes as you grow in the business. So when I first got started, I am like the queen of lists. I love to I get so pumped when I can check things off of a list. So you literally I have to just make everything in a list. So what I did when I was working full time is I had, I guess, kind of a 6 list, but it was just more so in my mind or in my planner. But it would be like I got up and I made my certain post by a certain time. Kind of setting, what I like to do too is set alarms on my phone or reminders, because sometimes when you're in the hustle and bustle, you forget. So if I have that quick little thing, I always pre-planned my posts in the evening. So that became kind of one of my 6 list things, but it was more so like I would do that before I went to bed. But making sure I got up and I added people on Instagram, people on Facebook. I made, like Brittany said, an obtainable goal. And especially when you're working too, like I didn't want to overwhelm myself. So my range was about 5 to 10 when I was working. Now that I'm home full time, it's a little bit more. But I still too have other things. So like with leadership or, I like to do some self-development or like focusing. And so that can become part of your 6 list, but it's important that your 6 list is really results in business income producing. So not just saying like, I'm going to scroll on Facebook and da, 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 da. So like I heard one was that she doesn't check any of her notifications or emails or texts or anything until she's liked and commented on 20 people's photos. So like setting goals like that could be one of your checklists, but that's also being income producing because you're engaging in that relationship. So, set your list up too. So that way it's not just where you're sitting there scrolling and kind of aimlessly not thinking you're working, but you're really just busy in your mind and not being productive. Because you do want to like and comment and things like that. So that would be one. Another 2 is, get out and talk to people. And for me, it's really scary to still blitz sometimes. I mean, I always have conversations with people. I'm just like, I'm going to go hand you a card. I always have to start it out. So I think it's figuring out what type of blitzing works for you. Like Kyle is a blitzing king. Like he loves to talk to everybody. But for me, I have to start a conversation, and then I can't just go up and hand a card. Like that gives me anxiety thinking about it. So I think it's just figuring out like what works for you, what's comfortable, but also not only staying in your comfort zone, pushing yourself a little bit more. So like up the ante, but don't make it an unrealistic number where you're doomed for failure because you're overwhelming yourself and you're not going to get to that number, and it's something that you can't achieve, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. So like, if you can't message 50 people a day and interact with them, don't message that many. Put it in a range that works for you. What was the other thing I was going to say? I think that was it on that one, I guess. The 6 list. So you can really call it like whatever you want. I think there's a template in our team page in the files that they created. So like, it's an actual list if you want to, write it out or whatever. But I think it's just like figuring out what works best for you. I think when you are new, and I kind of already touched on it, it's very difficult to not like to stay focused on your business, like the income producing activities, rather than feeling like, so that's why I think the 6 list is so important, because it keeps you focused, it keeps you on target, and it helps you know what to do and how to build, rather than kind of just aimlessly doing things. Because sometimes it can be and that can make you overwhelmed and feel like, oh my God, this is too much. I took on too much. No, this business is very simple, but you have to set daily goals for yourself. So we can kind of transition into daily goals. What I liked to do, especially when I was working, is I made daily goals, I made weekly goals, and then I made monthly goals. I wanted to make sure that they were all obtainable, but then again, also push me. So like, I don't ever like to look at it and say, I'm going to sign up 2 loyal customers today. No, I'm going to set it up where I'm going to talk to 15 people about being a loyal customer today. And I've planted 15 seeds, versus if I don't sign the 2 customers, I already feel defeated. So it's really just keep making sure planting seeds and talking to people every day. So that way you are growing your business. It can be scary too to start adding people on social media. I think that sometimes it can be like something that people are like, I don't know, because I've kept everything and I'm like worried about my kids. I think you just get in a point in your business where you just have to get over it and put it all out there, because you never know who's that single mom crying herself to sleep every night, like who you could be reaching out to by sharing your post and kind of just opening up to the world. So I think it's super important to just be yourself, but also, like making sure that you're not just like secluded where you can't really succeed because you're not branching out, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's why I think it goes back to, for those of you that are just getting started, or let's say have been started for a little while and just have slowed down, the worst thing you can do for your business is do nothing.
Yep.
Worst case scenario, let's be honest, worst case scenario, you're going to make a post that it's not against compliance. Like, let's say it's one of those pregnancy posts where it says you can take this while you're pregnant. Well, just so you all know, that's against compliance. But let's say you didn't know that. Yeah. Worst case scenario, the person that you signed with should kind of be watching your posts, and they'll nicely say, hey, I forgot to tell you, or, that honestly, you learn. I remember I took a post from someone else. It was actually Krista Hardebeck. I posted it and it had her info on it. I didn't know. I was new, and I just thought it was a killer post. She messaged me and said, hey girl, I just want to let you know you put my info here. I made you one with your info. I want to get you your leads. One thing I want to touch base on, just because I don't want to forget, is in this business, I feel like from day one, I felt like I feel like I didn't learn this for a couple months, and so I had to like backtrack. The idea is to work smarter, not harder. You're going to be asked the same questions over and over and over. So just in your notes, just literally, this is all of my, stuff for It Works. I have notes and notes and notes. So, when someone texts me and says, I want to sign as for a 90-day challenge, or for to be a loyal customer, don't feel like you have to type it over again. Type it once, save it. Yes, you're going to adjust it a little bit to fit them. You want it to be personal. Yeah. But I feel like the idea is to work smarter, not harder. And then at that point, and some of you may not understand this just yet. This honestly is fun and addicting. It's never really felt like work for me. It's a little work because I'm competitive, but other than that, I always say it's hard work in the fact that you have to be consistent, but it's the easiest hard work I have ever found, because I can do it from my couch. I can do it from the doctor's office. how many places do you know that you can actually be wherever you want to be and make a post and get paid from it? So
no, I mean, that's the craziest thing is I think sometimes there's a misconception that people can just sign up and like not do anything, and it's like, oh my God, I'm magically going to become a millionaire. No, it took hard work to get to where we are at, but it's because we were consistent each and every day and we never gave up. So create those little tasks for yourself so that way each and every day you can be consistent, because it may not be that you get all these yeses right away, but you're going to get the yeses down the road because you've built your business and you planted those seeds. So I think that's like one of the most important thing is always focus on like what you can do day in and day out, but you can't just expect stuff to work quickly if you're like here and there, one or two posts every so often, or even if you're not using social media. You can't expect to have a party and then it just like, that's it. That was it. My one party is going to make me a millionaire. No, you have to keep doing what you're doing each and every day. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is, oh God, I have a brain fart now. I don't know.
well, while you're thinking about I have one thing on my list. It says celebrate every success, even the small ones. And what I mean by that is a lot of people probably look at my Facebook sometimes and are like, oh my gosh, she posts all the time. Yeah, I usually, I do post 3 to 6 times a day, but it's silly stuff. It's maybe 2, it works. It's the other one, it's just me letting people in my life, because to be honest, people are very, very nosy. I have a couple people that I know are on the verge of they're going to join. They've been watching me for over a year because they literally comment on, I'll be eating a bowl of cereal and they're commenting. They watch every move, but they watch every move because I let them. And so, I actually have, a couple of my new girls, they've been rocking it out because they hit the ground running. And I said, follow my lead. I said, you just signed a loyal customer. That's awesome. Go post about it. Now, I will say that this works for some. Some do post the name and say, welcome this person. I know for me, I've had a couple of loyals will say, I'll join as a loyal if you promise not to tell anyone. Yeah. So make sure you get their approval. But for me, I'll put like a selfie holding a number 1, or take a piece of paper and draw a number 1, or come up with some, or, let's say you're at the park. Let's say a tournament, you're at the park. Take a picture. You got the email confirmation, put it like in a little like side by side and say at the park and join, and also welcome to new loyal customer. I feel like that it's the little success that really starts to get the ball rolling. And next thing you know, you have this huge ball. The other thing I was going to say is we didn't wake up presidential. We all started at distributor level. But one thing I remember is, and this sounds silly, I had a good job. We were dating. But I was like, I actually was just talking about this with him the other day. I said, you didn't know it, but like, when I'd go to the grocery store and he was like, yeah, because we didn't live together. I'm like, I was putting that on a credit card so that I had extra funds in case we wanted to do something that I looked like I had some extra money, because I didn't. So for me, I don't think you have to say, oh, look, I went to Disney. I think it's, look, this just bought my Starbucks, or look, this just bought a pizza, because I will never forget one of the first things I did when I was starting to make any money is that I paid for dinner for Matt, Ty, and I. So if you think the small victories aren't important to some people, it was important to me because I couldn't do those things, without putting it on a credit card.
You literally read my mind, because that was my note, is to remind Brittany about her pizza story. Yeah, because I was like, I know that's a big one. But yeah, I think it's just important to show. I love putting posts where you can say that you've worked them to, like, you're at the park and then you put the screenshot of the loyal customer, because it shows people that you don't have to sit there behind the desk and you're waiting for all these people. Our dog's getting in trouble.
Like, what'd Finn do?
No, he's asleep. Well, he's been shouting mom. Hopefully he fell asleep. But but it's just really like showing people that you can work this business literally anywhere that you go, and you're working from your phone. That's like the beauty of it. And I think when you do that, that you can start to relate to other people, because they're out going to the park or they're out doing things, but they're not making money doing it. So you can kind of share those little things. Another thing that we'll talk about, I I think when you get started, and we always say share your adventures, some people think that you have to go like places and do all this stuff. Adventures could be literally in your living room or at the park, or you're walking on the street, whatever. Take a bunch of pictures, and you can post about it for 2 weeks. It doesn't matter, because you have those little moments captured and you can keep going back to them. So we don't go like, we'll go some places and stuff, but I mean, a lot of times I will literally just snap a whole bunch of pictures whenever we go to the park. Mainly one, because like sometimes Finn half the time doesn't even look at a camera. So it's like you get as many as you can when you do that, but you can kind of talk about that and say, oh, I'm really happy because I can spend more time with him. Or if you're not there yet, you can talk about, this is what I'm looking forward to, is spending more time with my child, anything like that. So when we talk about it, share your adventure, but it doesn't mean that you have to go and like do all this stuff and have these crazy elaborate things saying, oh, I have all this money and I can do all this. No, celebrate the small things and celebrate your little adventures that you go on, because that's what's relatable, and that makes you personal, and that's what people are going to be really connecting with you on that different level. So any other things that you want to add, Britt?
I have 2 more things. Remind me to get back to the It Works product coach. So I want to talk about that. But the other thing I want to talk about is don't feel like you have to have, we talked about a little bit, but I want to get more in depth, all these personal results. To be honest, I'll just give you a little bit. When I actually joined the business, I joined not really loving one of the products. And I hadn't tried anything else. I had wrapped years before that. I'd wrapped one time. It didn't work, which is actually why I told Alyssa no, because I just said I would be no help because I don't believe in it. I actually joined thinking, well, maybe the wrap's just not for me, but I want the hair, skin, and nails and stretch mark cream. But it's not like I joined and got those. It's not like I had the results and then I joined. No, I said, you know what, forget it. If I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to do this. So I joined. And I couldn't afford to get an auto shipment just of products for myself. So actually, my first auto shipment was a box of wraps to sell and make my money back, plus a thing in hair, skin, and nails. It was 14 days into the hair, skin, and nails that I got my first personal result picture. So you're talking almost 2 months into the business before I had my personal results. But it didn't matter, because at that point, I had seen people that I knew of that it worked. And the way I told myself is, and this is kind of off subject, but it's no different than, we jokingly say, some people can't have peanut butter, but that doesn't mean that other people can't have peanut butter. Some people are allergic, but some people can have it. That's how I thought was. I was like, well, maybe the wrap isn't for me, but maybe it'll work for someone else. So then as I got my, personal results, but my biggest thing is, don't feel like you have to have all these results and all these knowledge for people to trust you. Honestly, it's all right here. If you believe, you will receive. And then the other thing I was going to touch base on is I'll post it in the team pages. It's myitworksproductcoach.com. It's amazing. And I actually always tell my new team members, I love when you ask questions, because to me, that means you're trying. Yeah. However, I will say, before you ask your upline or someone questions like, how much is ThermoFit, or what products have this in them, just go to your website and look, or go to Product Coach and look. And it's not that I don't want to answer the question, because quite frankly, like I said, if you're asking a question, that means at least you're trying. Yeah. But what you will find is you went for one question and you end up finding all these other answers that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this. And I feel like that's how I got confident. It probably took 3 or 4 weeks for me to feel confident enough to not post and be like, oh gosh, I hope no one says anything. But I also knew that if they did say anything, I had time to get my answer.
Yeah, no, and I think I don't think, like, again, like the team pages and Product Coach, I don't think people utilize that enough to their advantage. I'm the type that if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you where to find it. I'm not going to tell you the answer right away. So I think it's important to kind of use all avenues for information and then revert back to your upline if you need it, because that's the only way that you're going to become successful, is you have to get comfortable, because otherwise if you just ask a question, somebody gives it to you, you're going to go and ask the same question in a week or so. So make sure that you get comfortable. I love Product Coach, and Cleanse is on there already. I already checked. It is up on there today, or I guess they put it up when it launched, but it is up as of today. I checked that today. The other thing, we can kind of talk about getting to events if you want. You want to talk about that, like team meetings?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest and say, I mean, some of you may have heard this. When I first got started, I actually did not go. And granted, I'm not talking like a long time, but there was a couple months that I didn't go to the events. I let Tyler be my excuse for not going, but yet Tyler, my son, was the whole reason why I joined this business. And that's why they don't let your why be your excuse. And so it was funny because at the time I had just had one team member on my team, and I was seeing her being posted in the pictures at the team meeting. It was kind of like, it kind of lit my fire, because I'm like, okay, if she's going and not making excuses, then I can't make an excuse. And I'll be honest, it sounds silly. In some of the meetings, you're going to hear the exact same thing. But I guess you're hearing the exact same thing because that's how easy this business is.
Yeah.
So I think that getting to meetings not only fills your cup back up, but it reminds you what you should be doing. The only thing that I will get on a little tangent is just remember, when you do these trainings, when you do calls, when you do meetings, the idea is to leave and put it into action. Just coming to the meeting and then not doing the work you heard about is not going to grow your business. So just come with an open mind and then put that information to work.
Yeah, and take notes, take in as much as you can, because and even if you're not local, make sure that you're plugging in as much. I think I remember us talking, like, when we first got started, and we were like, oh, I don't know if we need to listen to this Sunday night call or whatever. Like, I've got to do a bunch of other stuff. But it was the minute that we started doing those things and actually like plugging in and tuning in as much, that's when we noticed our business took off, because we got more confident. We knew what was going on, and we were utilizing all those tools that the leaders were providing and sharing with us. So it's so important to make sure that you're staying plugged in, you're tuning in, you know exactly what to do, because a lot of times when they make announcements, it's like on the calls or at team meetings, anything like that. So you want to be first in the know and also use it to your advantage. So I just think it's important. Anything else? That's all I have.
I don't think so. I think that's it.
Okay.
I mean, for the most part, it really is just, get started. The worst case scenario, you're going to post something that doesn't make sense, and your upline will tell you, hey, edit this or change that. Launch parties.
Oh, yeah.
Launch party. You're going to usually you want to do it within the first 30 days to help you get but the sooner the better. If you're out of area or out of state from your upline, do an online party. I mean, I was just over at my sister's tonight, and I told her, I said, this business is really so easy. The hard part is actually making yourself do what it takes. But the work, it doesn't cost to post on Facebook. It doesn't cost to post on Instagram. It doesn't cost to get on calls. Yeah. So it's just taking that information and then running with it. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is, with these bonuses out right now, guys, for those of you that are brand new, yes, they're in and out, and they're in and out. So, I mean, obviously that when they go away, they're going to come back maybe a year from now. But we didn't have a Ruby bonus when we joined. No one had an Emerald bonus until just now. Like, that's brand new. 14 years at 15 years in, brand new. So, I mean, the fact that these bonuses are on the table, I always say, don't work because of the bonuses. Like, you're going to want to work no matter what. But because they're out, you better have a fire and run now, because it's only going to help your check, which is only going to help you be even more confident that this works. For those friends and family that say it doesn't, you can show them it does, and it's just going to relight your fire. So I would say, just know what you have in your hand. I mean, I'm sure about you, and I know about me. I honestly probably am still red and splotchy, but like, I used to be extremely shy. Like, I'm not the person I am now is not who I was. I just wanted it so bad that I was determined to make it work.
Oh, yeah. It literally is all in your mind. So if you tell yourself you're not going to be successful, you won't be. But if you sit there and you tell yourself every single day that you're going to do this and you're going to do it to the best of your ability, you're going to be successful because you have that determination. So it's really just hit the ground running, go for it. who cares if you mess up? It doesn't matter. We've all messed up. We've all made a stupid post, but we've learned from it, and you just keep going. So that's the beauty of having amazing uplines. Like, it's crazy that you have a lot of the presidentials that are all like close together, and we work to do all these things. Like, take advantage of that and take advantage of leadership and all the tools that are provided. So, but yeah, this business is really simple. It's so much fun. And I always remember like Alyssa, when I first got started, it was like 3 days in. And Alyssa challenged us to make a why video, and mine was like literally awful. And I only would post it to the team page. But then I started to take a little bit more, and I was like, okay, I'm going to post this on my actual page. And so push yourself out of the comfort zone. Like, just go for it, because there's a lot of amazing things that can happen. You just have to put the work into it. Because if you don't, then you're just going to sit there and you're going to be like, oh my God, like I see them all doing this stuff. Like, just go for it. Just go for it.
What if? Yeah. Don't say what if, just do it.
Exactly.
Clearly, I love this business, which is why I think this stuff is so much fun.
Me too, because clearly I love my voice.
I've loved it. It's not the money. I've loved it since I was a distributor and executive. I mean, it's one of those things that's like, what? Like, I just got to fill this and do this and help 2 people. And that's the idea. You're helping other people.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, but if you guys need help, you know where to find us on Facebook. You know where to find us on the team pages.
Kyle, you got her. She's such a nut.
Right.
Yeah, she's like digging in there.
And then sorry about the technical difficulties.
Yes, we're so sorry.
I would like to tell you that it's the first time that's happened to us, but it's not. So maybe it's just
every time we do a Google Hangout. Every time.
We're gonna get good at this though.
Well, we love you guys so much, and we're so excited for February. There's some amazing team meetings coming up. Can you hear her? She's a nut.
I can't hear her. I really can't.
Okay.
Oh, Monday. Get to the meeting. It's going to be conference recap, which was insane anyways and changed like our crazy businesses. But get to the meeting.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm so excited. We're going to get off because everybody has got work to do, and we're pumped. And we want to see your goals. So if we're friends, tag me on Facebook, because I can't wait to see your goals and cheer you on for February. And we're so excited. And I'll probably lose my voice the whole month because I'm so pumped, but it's all good. It's all good. All right. Love you guys. Have a good weekend, or have a good night, weekend. Blah.
What day is it? We don't know.
I don't even know what day it is. Bye.